What's going on, guys? Today's guest went from zero to building a seven-figure $1 million Airbnb empire without owning a single property. In just 2 years, he scaled over 180 units, pulling in over $1 million of revenue through Airbnb Arbitrage. He mastered the art of leveraging 0% business credit, spotting hidden market opportunities, and turning rental agreements into cash-flowing machines. His name? Kevin Leong. And today he's breaking down exactly how he did it, the ugly truths nobody talks about, and why he believes anyone's willing to take a risk can change their life. This is Straight to the Point. Let's get into it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Straight to the Point. I'm your co-host, Tristan Guerrero, West Coast Property Bros. Today we have on a special guest. We have Kevin on from the mastermind group I'm with Rich. Yeah. Kevin, a pleasure to meet you on this wonderful Sunday. I'm back up in the Bay Area, visit family, and I happen to run into Kevin. So we're here. We finally connected in person. So Kevin, thanks for coming out.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you for inviting me. I'm pleasure to be on this podcast with you.
Yeah, of course. Sorry, Isaac, you couldn't come out today, but he'll get the next one. But
yeah.
Cool, man. Well, let's get right into the episode for today. So do you think working a 9 to 5 is just a slower way of going broke, would you say?
I would say, in my opinion, working a 9 to 5, like, don't get me wrong. I get sometimes people have started 9 to 5 to maybe make the income first. But I believe with obviously nowadays with inflation, how things are going, things are getting more expensive. I feel like 9 to 5 is a slower way to get, I guess, feeling like broke, because I feel most people don't get that raise or make enough money to keep up with inflation, right? As you can see, like interest rates, mortgages, like I feel like nowadays, even like all my friends that I know, literally can't afford a house, especially in California and the Bay and the Bay Area, right? Like, think about it, back then, maybe a house like maybe $500,000 or less, but now minimum in Bay Area is like, for a shack is like $1 million, and you can't even live in it. So yeah, I would say if you're working 9 to 5, you always have to find other ways to invest to make extra money, passive income, or find some side hustle to give that extra couple thousand a month, to keep up with the economy.
Yeah. I remember you mentioning you were doing a shoe business, resale business before you got into Airbnb Arbitrage.
Yeah.
Kind of talk about that, because I feel like a lot of people go into the shoe resale space, especially in the Bay Area where fashion's really big.
Yeah. So I'll be honest, like, I didn't really know too much about shoes. I just knew, like, when I was like a little bit younger, like, I also didn't want to work for like, whatever fast food or whatever, like $10, $12 an hour. I was like, if I could just wake up early, maybe buy hella like Yeezys or just random shoes that I know that I'll resell for extra like $50, $100. I just felt like that was more worth my time. Like, I just come from my house, buy it online, they come to me, post on like Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, meet up people, and I was like, shit, that's worth my time. Like, something really quick, And then I'll do the same for like like iPhones, GPU card, just random like stuff that I know that would make like extra $20, $30, $50. So to me, that was like worth my time instead of being stuck somewhere that I didn't really want to be to make that extra money.
Right. And then when did you see that doing that business, that side, was that mainly your main hustle, would you say?
No, I wouldn't say it's main hustle. It was like more like a side thing I did like after hours, like at nighttime, weekends, just to make extra money. Like I said, just because I've always wanted, I always had a mentality, like, I wanted to do more, make more, and that's just kind of my way to find like extra income.
But when did you see, once you started doing the resale shoe business for a bit, when did you feel like you were ready to move on from that and start Airbnb Arbitrage?
Yeah, so I guess I was like kind of doing it like maybe like I would say starting sometime maybe community college and then throughout college, and then maybe like 1, 2, 3 years after college, I was like, okay, this is like taking like some time. I want to actually start. Okay, I was like a real business that I could either automate, kind of do wherever, that doesn't really require me to meet someone in person or physically. I think like everyone wants like that automated business that you could freedom of travel, freedom of time, totally. Right? So I was like, okay, now that I made some money over the years, like, let me just use that money to invest or into something that will hopefully like benefit me in the future.
Yeah. Wow. When did you figure out and find out about Airbnb Arbitrage? Why was this the biggest thing for you?
Yeah. So for Airbnb Arbitrage, I kind of like stumbled upon it. I maybe heard about it actually a little bit before I started, but never really looked into it, because like, oh, Airbnb is a thing, but just like a place to stay, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then I think like around, I would say end of 2022, I kind of like saw more content on like YouTube, Instagram about other people doing something called Airbnb Arbitrage, where it's like, oh,
Yeah.
you can rent another person's property that you don't own, that you don't have to pay a mortgage for, and replace it on Airbnb and make a profit. I was like, wow, that's so cool. Like, I wonder how you do that. Like I said earlier, you like for California, say $1 million house, you need like 20, say traditional 20% down. That's 200K, right?
Yeah.
Like, shoot, I don't think a lot of people, especially when they're younger, will have 200K lying around, actually to get the house, pay the mortgage, furnish it, then post on Airbnb. But with this, new, I'm not sure if it's new, but this, method called Airbnb Arbitrage, you can, like I said, you get the landlord's permission to sublet it, and then you post on Airbnb. So say the rent is 3,000, but maybe you furnish it really nice. You maybe upcharge up to like 6, 7, 8,000 on Airbnb, profit the difference. And like I said, you don't have 200K down in, you just have to buy the furniture.
Oh, interesting. And I'm kind of curious because I don't really know that whole realm of Airbnb arbitrage.
Yeah.
So you said you'd have to go and lease the property from the owner.
Yes.
And then once you get into the property, then you're able to then sublet if the owner allows.
Yeah.
Then from there, you're able to then get whatever income you make from whoever sublets from you.
Yeah, pretty much, yes.
Wow. I never really thought of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're kind of getting the fruits of your labor from someone else's property without having to invest.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. I saw on your Instagram page, you use business cards.
Yes.
Business lines of credit to be able to rent. Would you use it to go and rent?
Yeah. I mainly use the 0% interest business credit cards for furniture, but there are definitely ways that you could use it to pay rent, so you don't have to use too much out of your own money out of pocket. So basically, a little bit about 0% interest business credit cards is basically like 0% interest with 0% interest APR for like maybe 12 months, 18 months.
Yeah.
So you could carry the balance for 12 to 18 months without paying interest. So that helps you leverage the bank's money without using your own money. So say example, let's just keep the example, say a three bedroom house. Maybe it takes like 10 to 15K to furnish. So instead of you spending your own 10 to 15K of your own money, use one credit card. And then you could hold that balance for 12, 18 months until you break even, or maybe, but usually you break even quicker, but now you don't have to pay, put upfront 10, 15K. So you pay the minimum, which is about 1 to 5% of the credit card balance. So if it's a 10K balance, you're only paying like whatever 1% is, I think like whatever $100 or whatever it is.
For the minimum. Right?
Yeah, the minimum payment, every month. And then you won't get charged interest by the bank. And then, so you mainly use it to buy furniture, but there are softwares called, believe Bill.com, Emilio. Can't remember the third one, but you could use those two softwares and you could actually use that to pay rent to the landlords. So you can connect, your credit card to the software, and then you just need the landlord's like bank account, and then it'll send an ACH transfer from the credit card to the landlord's bank account, so you can pay rent, but it'll charge you a 3% fee. But if you don't want to use too much of your own capital, 3% is kind of nothing. Like you said, like I said, you could carry the balance for 12 to 18 months on the 0% card.
Okay. And then what happens after that 12 to 18 month period on the 0% interest on that credit card? Obviously it would go to standard rate, right?
Yes. So if you don't,
what do you do in that scenario? Once the period's up.
If you don't pay off the balance in 12 to 18 months, of course, there's the standard interest rate from the credit card. I guess to answer your question, if you don't pay it back, there are other credit cards that are called, still 0%, but they're called 0% balance transfers. So usually those credit cards mostly have 0% APR, which is on purchases on credit cards, but there's also some called 0% balance transfer, which is like, normally those are like depending on the bank, but it could be 9, 12, 18 months similar. And then basically, say you have one card with a balance of say 20K, right? Yeah. And say you're almost to the 12 months and you don't pay it back. You could apply for another credit card, maybe a different bank or whatever. And maybe they're called balance transfer cards. And say maybe that card has, you get a limit of say 20K. Now you can transfer the balance from the 20K to pay off the 0%, card that's about to expire. So now technically you're extending that 0% from, so you had 12 months, say another 12 months. Now you basically extend that balance for 24 months, right? So now, so technically you could.
It's kind of a hack.
Yeah, kind of a hack. So there's different ways. There's not too many balance transfer cards, but if you're in that pickle, you could do that way. And then now you have a 0% of that transfer card for whatever, say 9, 12, 18 months, whatever it is.
Dang. Is there a downfall for doing that at all? Or can you just honestly keep repeating that over?
Technically, to some extent, you could keep repeating the 0%, but I think obviously over time, banks would know like how many credit cards you have, and because banks are by what you call like exposure limits. So,
Yeah.
example, Chase, like Chase Bank, right?
Right.
They will give you up to 150K in like no doc loans for 0% credit card. So that means if you have multiple Chase credit cards on the business side, you have you can have a total up to 150,000, and they won't like really ask you for like P&L, bank statement, tax return, stuff like that. That's kind of like,
Oh, wow.
but then once you try to hit over the 150K limit, then they might ask you for all those verifications because they're extending you a big credit limit, right? But so they want to know that you're responsible and things like that. So each bank has their own kind of like exposure limit.
Yeah.
So technically, in a way, it can be unlimited, but to a certain extent.
Interesting. Okay. Now, after everything you told me about getting into Airbnb arbitrage from the resale shoe business, would you rather risk going into debt chasing a business or play it safe and never try it all?
Yeah. I mean, based off like my experience and my story, I would say I would go into debt chasing like the business, making the business better or chasing my dreams. But also I take calculated risks. I'm not. It's not like I just go in like spend hella money on these Airbnbs and hopefully I make my money back. Right.
Right.
There's obviously a process like, hey, so how I guess find profitable Airbnbs or find profitable areas. Kind of like, you ever heard of McDonald's Burger King method?
For franchising or
in general, yes. For how like, I guess like basically from what I know, like McDonald's does a lot of market research and find the best locations to make a McDonald's, right? And Burger King,
in terms of real estate.
yes.
Oh, okay.
And Burger King knows McDonald's method, so they just copy them and make like they create like a Burger King like very close by the McDonald's because they already did the market research.
That, yeah.
Yeah. So something similar like that. That's what we do for Airbnb. So I use a software called AirDNA, and then you would just vet out like the good properties, and then now I find like, the top 5 to 10 performing properties in the area, and I'll kind of just look at what makes them all similar for a top 5 to 10. Maybe it's an amenity, maybe it's a location, maybe it's a view, whatever, right? Yeah. And I'll kind of just try to replicate it if I try to find a property in that area, but maybe make it better, add extra 1 to 3 amenities that now that I'm the top property in that area, then people would choose me, right?
Interesting. Wow. And taking calculated risk, it takes a lot of research to get into it. How long did it take you to finally make the jump into Airbnb arbitrage and take that risk and start going into debt?
Yeah. So like I said, I heard about Airbnb arbitrage around 2022, and I started my journey around beginning 2023. Okay. So say end of Jan 2023.
It's kind of seasoning there for a year.
Yeah. Cause I think like anyone, I was like kind of scared to take the leap. I was like what if, adding like anyone that starts a business or just ending, what if I fail? What if it doesn't work out? How can I pull this off? I don't have too much money, but how can I figure out to get money? And that's how I, just did a lot of research. I mean, I did extensive research, but it's not like I do everything before I started, but I was like, it's like time like to do it, you don't
take action.
Yeah, take action basically. And then I got my first deal March of 2023, my first 5 units.
Dang.
And that kind of just started everything. I ran those 5 units for a couple of months, and then I kind of already saw the potential. I didn't wait a whole year to see the potential, but the first 2 months, like, oh wow, like this shit actually works.
Wow.
And then I just
within the first 5 months? Or a couple months, would you say? Did you started seeing results?
So the first couple of months, it wasn't so Airbnb is by seasonality, so high season, low season by travel.
Right. Yeah.
Even though it wasn't my high season yet, I already saw like the potential of the business just from like, I think 3 months in.
Wow.
And then I think I just had confidence in myself to also make it work, right? Like, I know some people need they want like all the information before they start a business or even do it, right? But I'm like, I'm gonna figure it out as I go. But as long as I have like maybe like 70-80% of the information, I'll figure out the rest. Like, even if I encounter roadblocks.
Dang. And so you started acquiring at first, not 1, but 5 properties at first, which is kind of crazy. You just kind of jumped the gun, like, is that like a minimum requirement that you set for yourself to start off?
Yeah.
Or why'd you go with 5 versus 1?
Yeah. So my method for Airbnb arbitrage, because everyone's different. Like some people do houses, I do apartments.
Got it. Okay.
And basically in apartments, like just kind of like landlords have a lot of vacancies, right? Especially in multifamily. So one way to position yourself as like someone that they want or someone to solve their issues or problems is that you'll lease multiple units from them. Because if I were to pitch a landlord at a apartment complex, a multifamily, like, hey, can I just get one unit? They're like, it's not really worth their time because maybe you can cause issues or maybe you're not a good operator or whatever it is, right? Like why rent one unit to me to run as an Airbnb or corporate housing versus just a normal tenant? But if I say, hey, I'll take 5 units, they're like, okay, maybe I'll think about it and then I'll vet you out. And then it sounds like a win-win, you know?
Right.
And that's kind of like how I grew my business so fast in my mall because I'll go to landlords with huge vacancies. I'll like at least 10, 15, 20 unit deals. My biggest deal was a 30 unit in one apartment.
Jeez.
So, but yeah, there's still a lot of vetting, like, cause then they're a big corporation. They want to make sure you have the credit, the money, you can pay rent on time, stuff like that.
Gotta vet you out.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I grew so fast. Like, you know, people talk about units cause like I said, I'm doing apartments, but you know, houses can be just as good as apartments, but my method is apartments. And one thing that I'm not sure people know that landlords, they'll give you a lot of rent concessions, especially you have more leverage to negotiate better terms if you have take leasing 5, 10, 15 units. So most of my average deals, I'll be getting like 8 weeks free rent concession.
Jeez.
So, you know, think about like doing 10, 20, 15 units at once, whatever it is, with 8 weeks concession. And if I position myself at the right time to get into like the high season or trial season for that market, I can essentially break even, get all my money back in like 3 to 5 months, maybe even quicker. So it's a very lucrative business.
Dang, that's a lot in a short amount of time.
Exactly. You position yourself right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a different level to Airbnb short-term rental business where you're not owning it, but you're renting it, subletting, and it's this whole process of things. Now, after doing it for a couple of years now, 2.5 or so, it's basically been your main gig so far.
Exactly.
The last 2.5 years. Do you think it's a pretty legit business after doing it for that amount of time, or is it just a glorified side hustle?
Yeah. I mean, I guess like from where I am at, and then in March of 2023, I made 1.12 million in revenue just in 1 month.
Yeah.
And the cash flow from that was like almost 600K. I would think is a pretty legit business.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing is like you just have to keep good relationship with the landlords and make sure like you're running, I guess like a good business. Like, you know, you vet the guests, make sure they're not throwing parties or destroying the community, or else you're gonna lose those leases and you're not gonna have that recurring revenue and profit. So yeah, I would say it's a good business, like I said, a good stepping stone. I mean, I think ownership is always the end goal, but if you, like I said, you don't have that 100K, 200K to start off to buy a property, you know, to start off, this is a good way to get some cash flow, some experience, and then you could work your way up into maybe like buying a property and running that as a short-term rental to get more cash flow.
Nice. What's kind of hesitated you from buying a property right now?
Oh, I actually did close on a property a few months ago.
Oh, you did? Oh,
yeah.
No way. Congrats.
Thank you. But it is my goal actually like to, it was actually always my goal to get, the cash flow from Airbnb and then start using that to buy properties either in vacation markets or even whatever urban city, wherever the numbers make sense, right? So that way you are owning the asset, getting the appreciation, tax benefits, and also because I'm going to rent it as, you know, Airbnb or short-term rental, I can make way more cash flow than a long-term rental. So that's my end goal.
Interesting. Okay. So, all right, Kevin. So be real. Have you ever had to bend the rules or find loopholes just to get ahead in the business?
Yeah, to be honest,
you don't have to say everything.
Yeah. to be fair, I would say I'm like a gray area kind of guy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm not saying like I do like illegal stuff or whatever, right? But I do, I'm going to say like if I find some type of loophole or something that would kind of help me benefit a little bit and I could bend it a little bit, like I think I do a little bit of it just to like get a little bit ahead. Cause like realistically, like I feel like everyone, if they can have the edge in any type of industry, they'll kind of take it as long as like I said, not like illegal or whatever, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you're not breaking the rules, but you're just following the rules to a certain extent. Like you said, the gray area.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like, that's how I've always been. But you know, if obviously something happens, like obviously, I'll follow the rules. If something like, you know, there's a fine or whatever it is, like, but that's just how I am.
Yeah. So, but do any of the landlords know like how much you earn, based off of what you do in Airbnb arbitrage?
I don't think anyone's actually asked me directly.
No? Okay.
But But I'm sure there are sometimes they look at like maybe they look on Airbnb on my listings, maybe they try to find how much I'm charging per night or whatever. Because I've had, and those are like the more headache landlords, like they're like just watching every move. And they're like annoying. Like well,
Oh
it's actually
God.
not the landlords, it's the property managers.
Oh
And
yeah.
then it's like a headache. Like I'm just trying to do like I'm not trying to like work with people that are like, watching my every move. And usually I'll end those leases because they're headaches to deal with anyways. But sorry to answer your question. I don't think they know exactly how much, but I know some landlords that from other colleagues that are in the space, they do find out that how much they're making. And some, depending on the landlord, they might try to raise rent. But then when they try to raise rent, the numbers don't make sense anymore because they think landlords think that you're making so much money, but they don't know all the little expenses and operations that you go through. Like,
Yeah, it's
I mean,
almost you're managing your own property at that point.
yeah, exactly.
Almost without
Um,
paying for the taxes and
yeah,
all that.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, some landlords try to take back the units and to run Airbnb themselves, but then once they do that, they realize like it's actually a lot, takes a lot of time and a lot of work to actually make the extra money.
Yeah. So if the landlord actually knew how much you were making on it, would they let you keep it?
So yeah, I think that depends on the landlord. Like I
Oh, it
said,
does. Okay.
I think if some landlords may think that, hey, if I'm charging, say, Kevin $2,000 a month, but he's
Yeah.
making, say, $5,000 in revenue a month from
Hmm.
my property, shoot, I might try to do an Airbnb myself. But the thing is, like, they might think that it's easy, but they don't know all the logistics, like
That's true.
turnover, guest communication, how to furnish it correctly, how to price correctly, like if this happens, what do I do if this breaks? Like it's actually a lot more headache. It's actually more headache than I would say dealing with a normal tenant. Because normal tenant's not going to do all that stuff. You just rent to someone and then you just collect your monthly rent
Right.
from the tenant, right? But yeah, with Airbnb, it's like a hospitality business, kind of like a hotel. You always have to clean it, make sure everything's right, make the guests happy. So a lot of things go on.
Yeah.
But most of the time, at least from my experience, from my landlords, they don't care. They just they just see me as someone that will pay multiple units of rent for their, their loan, their mortgage, and they're happy because usually for corporate housing or Airbnb businesses, we try to tell them like, hey, we'll take care of most of the issues or problems. The only thing you will
Mm.
have to usually fix, like if there's like a big HVAC issue or appliance issue, like all
Oh
these
yeah.
small damages, like I tell the landlords, I will fix up anything up to like $300 in damages because those are usually caused by my guests anyway. So they're happy that I'm taking care of their unit and I deep clean their unit like 3 times a
Mm.
week compared to most
Jeez.
compared to most normal tenants that may not even, I don't know how normal people clean
If
their
it's a
unit.
12-year lease, they're not gonna be cleaning that like as
Yeah,
much as you are.
yeah, exactly. Because we have turnovers, right? So we
Yeah.
have to clean the units consistently, make it to like a kind of like a 5-star stand, 5-star quality standard, like a hotel to next guest to make them
That's
happy.
true. Yeah. All right, Kevin. So do you feel like the reason people haven't taken that next step or gone past fear is because do you think most of them are broke because they're lazy and just are scared to take that next step?
Yeah, I would say a little bit of both. It can be both. I would
Yeah.
say, I mean, like how I told you my story, I was scared to do that jump for Airbnb to start a new business and to Airbnb arbitrage, right?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people overanalyze and they're like I said, they're comfortable with where their position is, or maybe they're not. Maybe they still want extra income, but they're too scared to make that leap because same like how I was feeling. What if it doesn't work out? What if I lose money? What if this, all these
Mm.
like fears that you're creating in your head. But what I've learned is that, a lot of times you create all these like situations or fears in your head, and that's the
Yeah.
thing that actually stops you from actually doing anything. You're just making up a lot of things that most likely would never really happen. And if it does, like you'll be able to figure it out. But right now, like if I have those fears, like, hey, what if I fail? What if this doesn't work out? What if, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Then it's like,
Yeah. People come up with like different scenarios in their
yeah,
head of like, why not start? Like, what if
yeah,
this happens when I do it and it
yeah,
doesn't work out
yeah.
versus thinking of the positive side of things.
Yeah, so they already like tripped themselves out of like it's not gonna work out. So your mentality going in is like I'm already gonna fail. So like why should I even take that leap,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
that's how most people think. You just have to like switch that mindset. Like it's gonna work. I'll figure it out. I know everything, but I just need like I said, you just need to know at least 50%, 60% to at least start. And most of the
Mm.
things you kind of learn as you go anyways. Like just like any like maybe you learn something from school or your work. You don't know everything when you start your job or learn this new subject, right? You kind of just learn as you go.
That's
And I
true.
think that's how I started doing that for anything like in business and life. It's like, I just need to know a little bit, just know some basic guidelines, and I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah. Now, ever since starting your own business,
Yeah.
has everything worked out truly to what you've planned out? from
hmm
when you entered till now?
So that's like a yes and no. So obviously, like things have went well. Obviously, with my business, I grew like
Yeah.
in 2 years very fast. I would say people say I'm pretty successful with like growing the business and making the numbers work. But I still take losses too in the business. Like there are a couple of deals, some units that didn't profit. That was actually burning money because once you have a certain, obviously I take more calculated risk to make profitable decisions for the to get an Airbnb unit. But sometimes when you make enough units and enough money, like okay, I'm gonna take a calculated risk. Maybe this won't work out. Maybe it will. And then sometimes those units don't work out, and then I like lose money during that lease, and then just kind of end it. Or there are also some units that I was like, let me try to fix it, but so I extended the lease another year, and then I still losing money. Like fuck, I should just ended the lease alone.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't doing well the first year, I should just ended it right away. So that's kind of
Yeah.
something I learned, or I've learned from that,
Yeah.
not to do it again. And you know, I've actually like there's some situations like in the Airbnb business like where shoot like things went south
Yeah.
like I'll have I guess like some I'll tell you in this podcast like some situations like I had some guests staying in our units and then they flooded our toilets, our units, like and it's
Oh
like kind of
man.
crazy like how I don't think they'll do at their own house. I'm not sure how they flooded our unit so bad. And since I'm in
Yeah.
a apartment complex, they flooded so bad that it flooded out the door, went down like a couple floors. So and
Jeez.
water damage is a lot, costs a lot for, I mean, anywhere. And in a
Yeah.
multifamily, when a lot of units are affected, like that, yeah, those bills are like expensive.
Yeah.
But since I have like a good
Jeez.
relationship with the landlords and property manager, I kind of worked out. Instead of paying like upfront for the damages, I'll pay them like over time. So that was a good thing. So instead of like, so one incident actually had a 30K damage,
Oh.
and then another incident was like 2 months into the lease,
hmm
and this time wasn't actually a guest. What happened was the property shut off the water to like do some maintenance on the building.
Yeah.
So then all the whole shut off for maybe one whole day. And they had cleaners come in that same day, but I guess they turned on the sink, but then the no water came out.
Huh.
But they left the handle on actually because there's no water, so they thought it was off, right? And I guess the kitchen stopper was in the sink too. So then
Oh.
so then at nighttime, when the building turned on the water, no one, I had no guests checking in that night, so no one was able to catch it. And then the water turned on, the sink filled up, and it started flooding the unit. And then it's a multi-family, so like I said, it ran out the door, probably went a couple floors down, and then there was emergency maintenance at nighttime. I mean, my team handled all that, but like I think
Yeah.
during that time, I think like some couple of people from my team messaged me. I was like, oh. Then I was like, what the fuck? Like, how did it flood? Because there's like, there's no gas. I was like very confused how like, because the water shut off too. And then I think my cleaning team was like, hey, I think it was maybe our fault. Because we had, they probably turned it on, but there was a kitchen stopper and all the
Yeah.
water kind of say, you think it's just not running, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then, and yeah, that was a lot. That bill was a lot. I think it was like 60,000, give or
Oh.
take. So yeah.
Dang, that was a big
So
hit.
yeah, business doesn't always go as you want, but ups and downs. I think as long as you have a positive mindset and you have more wins than losses, you'll be fine. But
Right.
part of a learning experience. I mean, I'm not sure how you can stop the second situation, but yeah, nothing's always as pretty as it seems.
Yeah. Yeah, you can always be prepared, but you
Yeah,
can't like always have sunshine and unicorns coming
hmm
your way. So basically,
exactly.
like everything you told me, no matter how much you can plan, prep, and train yourself on,
Yeah,
not everything goes to plan.
exactly. So that also seems like, or comes to the conclusion like you don't even know, like I said, you don't even know everything, no matter how much you plan. For people that are scared to take action, like you
Yeah.
never know everything. And like I was not expecting to get those water damage bills. Like that's basically like negative almost 100K in
Yeah.
that 1 year. And I'm paying them off now, which is fine because I worked out a payment plan.
That's
But shoot,
good.
like no one wants to lose. That's someone's salary 1 year right there.
Yeah, it is. Oh man. Now, going back and thinking about back then, going into your
Yeah,
20s, if you were 20, had $0 in your bank account
yeah.
right now today, no credit, would you still start this business today?
Hmm. I think it might be hard
Uh,
because I think the credit part definitely helped me out to expand and even start the business because I mean like
okay.
I wasn't like dead broke, but like I mean that still helped me like I mean with the credit card you can stack like 100K, 200K in 0% interest. Like that's basically free couple 6 figures to start a business, right?
Yeah.
I mean if I were to start in the same industry or like I guess Airbnb short-term rental,
Yeah.
if I had $0, no credit, I would try to learn from someone how to what you call co-hosting. So
Oh, okay.
basically what that is like maybe say you're a landlord, say you have a either property anywhere, vacation property, wherever it is. Maybe I'll learn from someone, and then and then maybe you're underperforming in your market or whatever, right? So I
Yeah.
may come to you, hey, I know how to run your property as a very good short-term rental. I'll show the analytics, maybe what things I'll do to improve it.
Yeah.
Say maybe you're making 50K, and then maybe I could boost that revenue to I don't know, say 70K, 80K, whatever it is, right? That's an
Okay.
extra 20, 30K in revenue, and then I'll
Oh,
take my
okay.
cut of usually co-hosting fees, maybe like 10 to 20%, give or take.
Okay.
So on top of the revenue, not the profit. So like each month, I could get 10, 20% from your property, but you still make more overall. So if I had to start
Hmm.
in Airbnb or short-term rental industry, I'll do that. But if I were to start a new business today, I think I would probably look into AI, to be honest, with
Yeah.
how it is. Like, I mean, maybe like I'll learn how to code it or how to utilize it for maybe creating a software or some type of service or agent. And then once I can
Yeah.
perfect that type of software or service, then I'll sell that service or whatever to business owners that may need help. I think that's how I'll
Uh,
utilize AI. If I had $0 and no credit today.
you say co-host, you have to go find a person to partner with to be able to do that?
Yeah, so kind of like I would say kind of like a partner, but you would
Uh-huh.
probably outreach to either Airbnb hosts, landlords that are already have their property on like say Airbnb, right?
Uh-huh.
Or maybe door knock, whatever it is, to get that clientele or that contract. But yeah, so you
Okay.
try like I said, you just try to find someone like that's hosting in like a Airbnb market and just like, hey, I see that you're underperforming, and I believe I can help you maybe increase your revenue by this much, and
Mm.
here's my like co-hosting fee if I do that or whatever.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
So yeah, that you don't need no money out of your pocket because the landlord or the owners will furnish that property themselves, and you don't have to buy the property because they're already owned by that landlord.
Right.
And all you're doing is managing the operations, increasing the revenue, and hopefully that they'll make a little bit more, but you also get your cut of like 10, 20%.
Uh-huh. So you're kind of like a property manager in a
Yeah,
way, but for Airbnbs
kind of, yes.
ish. Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. I've never really heard of
Yeah.
like a business like that, so that's why it kind of intrigued me.
Yeah, so it's basically a property manager for short-term rentals, basically, and then you
Uh-huh.
manage all their operations. They kind of just collect their whatever monthly check or revenue or net profit from the property, and then you collect your 10, 20%.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Now, what do you feel like is more dangerous to you? Feeling young or waiting till you're ready to start?
I think waiting for the right moment to start, because then at that point you might just wait forever or maybe never even start.
Right.
Because like I said, you're too scared to do anything. Time keeps going by, inflation keeps happening, things change, and you're still stuck in the same spot like for how many years, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think if you're ever thinking about starting something, just take the first leap. I know everything's scary. Like you don't have to like jump into like if you're Airbnb, you don't have to jump into like a 10 unit deal right away. Just take that one deal, just one
Yeah.
unit first. Learn the ropes, learn how everything works, then get more comfortable. Then keep doing more. Like I thought start with 5 units, but like you don't. No one says you have to get 5 units. You don't even need to get 180 units like
Yeah.
me. You just need enough like to supplement the inflation, just get extra income so that that you're more comfortable, I would say.
Yeah. Now, before we end this episode, Kevin,
Yeah.
if we had to leave someone watching this with one piece of advice, what would
Yeah.
you give someone in my shoes or someone even younger, entering their 20s, trying to start a business? What would you tell them?
I would say just take the leap. Like especially if you're younger, like you have more time to do things or like I guess recover or to figure out basically. Like I mean, if I was younger, I feel like I would have done more, and I think you just have to change that mindset to take that first step, just go for it, and just learn as you go because you're never going to know everything. And I don't think even the richest people or the smartest people know how to do everything. They just have the mindset like I'm going to figure out, I'm going to do it, and it doesn't matter what's going to happen.
Perfect, man. Kevin, this has been a great episode. I appreciate you coming
course.
out on the episode, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And you guys watching, thanks for tuning in to this episode, Straight to the Point with our guest, Kevin. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.